you. It's wonderful to be with you today. We're going to call this conference to order. Welcome to Police in Color, Black, Brown, and Blue, the Provost Forum on Race, Community, and the Pursuit of Justice. My name is Ajane Clemens, and I am a PhD student at the Sanford School of Public Policy with a concentration in political science and a member of the Forum Steering Committee. The steering committee is university-wide and composed of staff, faculty, and students, and sponsored by the Office of the Provost. So we'll now hear from the Provost, Sally Kornbluth, to bring her welcoming remarks. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to see folks here. And I know this is early on a Friday morning, but I think you'll see an exciting program. So I've wanted to dedicate the Provost Forum each year to issues and areas of great importance, both on our campus and beyond our campus. There are so many pressing issues that one can turn to in the current environment, but when Guy Charles suggested examining issues surrounding race and policing, I felt strongly that we wanted this topic to have wide discussion at Duke. It seemed like the right time to address these issues head on. And as I said in the invitation to the community, the country is riven by many divisions, and we see this, I have to say, even more since I originally sent this memo, in the daily interactions between individuals and being broadcast constantly on the news and social media. And one of the most significant tensions we've seen in the past several years, though certainly not new, is the tension between law enforcement and communities of color, in other words, the topic of this forum today. There's been a history of racism in many areas of society, including policing, and in many communities, this has led to a deep distrust of the police. At the same time, law enforcement officers can feel besieged and isolated as they fulfill their duty to serve and protect many different populations. And for better or for worse, the news media has tracked all of these interactions in very graphic ways, disseminating the brutal deaths of people of color following interactions with police, as well as fatal attacks on police officers in a number of cities. It seems that in many ways the gulf only continues to widen between these groups. So I'm very much looking forward to the conversation in today's forum, which brings together activists, scholars, and police officers to help us better understand the problem in its full complexity. Our speakers will provide insights into the nature of police and civilian interactions, explore the impact on marginalized communities that are experiencing racial violence, consider the difficulties in functioning as police officers in the current climate, and offer a process for achieving justice, or at least some dialogue suggesting ways of achieving justice between sometimes oppositional communities. I believe that it's only through open and constant communication that any of these rifts can be healed and the senseless violence can be stopped. I hope that today's forum will open a door for understanding the multifaceted dimensions of these issues and will stimulate further ongoing dialogue both within and outside the walls of Duke. So I'm glad you're all here to see this, and I believe it's going to be a very, very interesting program. So with that, I will, I first have to turn it over to Dean David Levy from the law school, who will make a few remarks. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Provost Kornbluth. When you were approached about this conference and topic, you immediately said yes to it and offered your support, and we thank you for that. I want to thank also the Washington Post. Surprisingly, it was not the Department of Justice that has compiled the most comprehensive information on police encounters that lead to deaths, to fatalities, but it's the Washington Post. And so we now know that in 2016, there were 963 deaths in police encounters. Of these fatalities, 465 were white, 233 were black, and 160 were Hispanic. And then the others are unknown. Also, in 2016, we know that 64 police officers were shot and killed, and 22 in an ambush-type setting. So we know the numbers now, but we don't know what they mean, and we don't know how to understand them, and the story that they tell, we're not sure about it, and we don't know how to respond. And a conference like this is an effort to help us to understand. A huge amount of thought and work went into the planning of this conference. The topic is difficult, can be painful, and it can be approached in many different ways. And the steering committee, I know, grappled with how best to present the issues, how to identify panels and topics. And this took a great deal of thought and then a lot of sheer organizational effort. I'd like to thank the steering committee by name. The steering committee was chaired by Guy Charles from the law school and included Sarah Beal from the law school, Ajane Clemens from Sanford, Christina Cleveland from the Divinity School, Jim Coleman from the law school, William Darity Jr. from Sanford and director of the Cook Center, Courtney Reed Eaton from the Center for Documentary Studies, Kia Glenn from the Center for Muslim Life, Lisa Griffin, the law school, Carrie Haney from Political Science and director of several centers, Wesley Hogan, the Center for Documentary Studies, Shashudi Hossein from the law school, Camille Jackson, Duke Council on Race and Ethnicity, Taylor Jones, law school, Amanda Lakoff, law school, Mark Anthony Neal from African and African American Studies, Katina Parker, Center for Documentary Studies, and Quentin Smith from Sanford. As you can see, the steering committee draws on expertise and resources from across the university, and the willingness to come together by these steering committee members and to make this conference happen is the kind of thing that happens at Duke and makes Duke so special. So let us thank the steering committee for bringing us here today.